So I'm here with Richard Storlie and Barb Solum of Spring Grove, Minnesota. Richard Storlie's from the area around Newhouse, west of Spring Grove, and Barb is from the area around Riceford, northwest of Spring Grove. Could you tell us a little bit about your history?
Well, I grew up on the farm. I was the youngest of 3 children. I was the fortunate one to be able to buy the home farm. And I've lived there all my life, and now I've retired from it and enjoyed every bit of it.
Okay.
And I'm from Mabel, was born over there and lived on the farm, grew up on the farm, and I guess farming's in my blood because I've always liked it. Dad said I was out there, whatever he was doing, I was doing it along with him. And I can remember he farmed with horses, and he was excited when he got his first tractor.
So you both pretty much knew that you always knew that you wanted to be farmers.
I felt that was the thing that I knew and probably enjoyed the most, and of course it was a family thing, and it was just part of learning to carry on what was from the past, which I enjoyed.
And I did go to nurses training, but never continued with it, and met Bob, and we started farming in 1959.
And describe your farm.
At that time, everybody had some animals, so we had dairy, we had hogs, and I usually worked along with him in whatever we did. I did field work with him, helped work with the animals, whatever that needed to be done.
Did some of the classes you had as a nursing student help you at all in terms of learning the biology?
Oh, it's helped me in all of life, I would say. Not only for myself, but for my family and neighbors, everybody. Somebody knew that there was somebody that had some medical knowledge in the neighborhood, they'd call you up.
Mm-hmm. Did you go to agricultural school or anything?
No, I never went on to any other school. I was very interested in starting farming right away, and was kind of brought into it immediately. At the time when I wanted to try to get into farming, my dad had kind of thoughts a little bit about retiring, some of that. And I wasn't too anxious to see having to start over again, so I really kind of got quite excited about carrying on what was already there.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't care to see that to have to start over again with from scratch and that. And so it made me kind of get more ready to try to be a responsible person to help with the work and learn the knowledge of it.
Mm-hmm. Could you describe, Richard, your farm at that time when you first started?
I would say our farm was quite a diversified farm. We raised, we did have some chickens, and we had some hogs, and we had some dairy, and we raised all our crops, which we harvested for our own use, and some of the dairy products, and of course the hog was what was marketed for the cash flow, and but otherwise it was quite a diverse operation in that, and that's what I remember most about everything at that time.
And as time went on, then did you become more specialized?
It took a while, yeah, before I did and that, but I didn't do it right away, and because when I did get married and had the chance to buy the farm, why I still had my hogs and still had some a few beef and then dairy. And then gradually I decided then to go to more dairy. And that. So then the hogs and the poultry and they got kind of sold off and then worked harder with the dairy. So I liked it. I enjoyed that the most and that, but it has been a big challenge ever since that.
Were those changes dictated more by economics decisions, or?
I would say kind of economics and that, and yet again there was a lot more decision in that, and I think it was also for the fact of trying to maybe do a better job on the enterprise to making it more productive, make it more profitable to make an income out of it.
Mm-hmm. Barb, would you say that your farm evolved quite a bit over the years?
Yes, I think it did. And you can see that different farmers have more interest in one thing or another. I think Richard Storlie's farming, you were interested in the animals.
Yeah.
I would say Bob was maybe more interested in the land, the soil, crops. He tried some different innovative things. There were years that we would raise different variety crops, and sometimes they were used for the livestock and sometimes they were marketed as a cash crop. For a few years we did raise wheat and that was sold. It was a good crop, but then you would have years where it wouldn't dry well and then it was not a good crop. We raised lupin beans for a few years and that was fed to the dairy cattle, and we also promoted it so that other farmers would come and buy them from us as a protein supplement for their dairy herd. So we've tried several different things.
Mm-hmm. About when, either one of you can answer this, about when did soybeans become popular in the United States to plant?
Myself, I couldn't tell you because as far as us, we never raised any soybeans. Our main crops were corn, oats, and hay. And that's what we kind of needed for our livestock and stayed with that. And we didn't feel we had the room to harvest soybeans. So I'm very dull on the knowledge of soybeans and that. Barb would know more about that.
Well, I don't even remember really when we started with that. Bob was one of the early ones that was interested in using less tillage, and he actually drove to Nebraska and bought a no-till planter, and we assembled the thing right at home on the farm and tried that out. And I think no-till has become a thing that's highly used right now.
How many dairy cattle did you have at the height of your farm?
Oh, we had 50 some.
50, and how many did you have?
At my highest, I think we were at about 70 cows.
Okay.
But that was milking cows and stuff and that. But of course, the young stock were extras and stuff and that. But
Would you say that dairy is probably the most labor intensive of all farming?
oh yes,
Absolutely.
Oh, yes.
Um,
And it's 7 days a week. You don't
Yeah.
you don't skip a day or anything like that. So it is very, you have to be very committed to it.
okay. So were you ever able to take vacations as farmers?
It was to try to sneak a vacation, which was maybe a day off or a day. Maybe we would occasionally have somebody come and do a milking or two, but it was not very often. In that, we didn't take off time like we should have in that, and yet I think we enjoyed what we did. I guess that's what the whole thing was.
What about you, Barb?
We did take time for some traveling and some vacations, and fortunately Bob was from a family of several boys, so he had brothers who could help and give relief for choring. And so sometimes it was an advantage that you took through sales of something that you would receive a free trip someplace. That was how we went to Bermuda. Actually, our daughter Tracy was working for one of the airlines, and we had a free trip. We went to Hawaii. And we would do road trips. We liked doing road trips and taking the family along.
And how many children did each of you have?
We had 2 kids. We had a boy and a girl, and they did help us then, of course, when they went through high school with the farm. And then they gradually went off to college, and the girl went on and worked out for a while and then married. And the boy went out and worked for a while, but then decided to come back and help farm.
Okay.
And so
And were you supportive of that, or did you think that that was a lot of work?
I made them make the decision what they wanted to do, and the boy asked to come back and help farm, and it was fine. It was okay. It was up to what they wanted to do, and very helpful for what they did do.
And Barb,
We have 5 children, 4 girls, and then miraculously we had a boy, Bob said. And Tara, our oldest daughter, was the one who said she was never ever going to live on a farm or marry a farmer, and she is the only of the 4 girls who is married to a farmer and she lives on the home farm of Bob's dad, Solum.
okay. And of course, your son.
And now he has taken over the operation of our farm, and that happened kind of by accident when Bob's health failed, that Jay took over the farm the day that he had a stroke, an AVM.
And I know Jay's been wanting to be a farmer since he was about, well, as early as he could speak.
I think so. I always told him that I would work, I would do whatever it would be. If he wanted to go to college, if he wanted to be a brain surgeon, I would work long enough so he could go to college and do that. But he never set foot anywhere near that. He did spend a day once with my son-in-law at an office job, and he sure was confirmed in his mind that that was not something he wanted to do.
So he's pretty happy as a farmer?
Oh, you
He
bet.
likes to be out there and driving around.